We are going to make foam prints today, and so in order to do that, you're going to need some foam. You're going to pre-plan. You'll need an artist trading card tracer. You'll need paper, tape, a pencil, and some juicy markers. I know, it's a lot of stuff, but we don't need it all at once. The very first thing that you're going to do is take a piece of scrap paper and lay out your design. That's called pre-planning. So that's the very first measures that you need to have done. After you have it all planned out, you're going to redraw that in a piece of foam. So what I'm going to do is take this tracer, set it down in the center, or somewhat in the center, and I'm going to take my pencil and draw around the edges. This does not have to be the plastic tracer that you're seeing here. It can be just another piece of paper that's the correct size, the artist trading card size. Now I'm going to take my pre-plan and transfer it onto my foam piece. Now when you're adding your design onto the foam, you want a pencil that's going to press in, but not one that's so sharp that it actually cuts through the foam. You also, with your design, want to keep it nice and simple. So shapes and lines make the best designs. One thing that I would suggest staying away from is letters or numbers, because when we print them, they actually end up backwards. We can maybe add those later on, but at this point, let's just keep it shapes and lines to make designs. Okay, my design is on the foam. You can see that, maybe you can see it, it's indented right into it. Now I need those nice juicy markers that I was telling you about. You can get very, very picky and fussy with your coloring, but I'm going to go more general today just for the demonstration purposes. Adding a lot of different colors makes this more interesting for sure. But I'll just add a couple, and like I said, my markers need to be nice and juicy. There's two different ways to print this. This version is called dry printing. Now really what I should have done first is tape that down. So I just rolled my piece of tape, I rolled it like this and placed it down onto the tabletop. I'm just going to go back in and give that a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to take my piece of paper, and I'm going to move my camera just a little bit because I'm going to make something called a hinge. A hinge is where you take your piece of paper and you add tape halfway on your paper and halfway off. Then I'm going to place that above my print. So you can see there's my print and there's my piece of paper. This is a dry piece of paper. I'm going to take that down and rub it with my fingers very, very firmly. Now I'm not hitting it, that doesn't help. I just need to press firmly. Now this, again, dry paper, so this is a dry print. Let's take a look at what that's looking like. Okay, not bad. You can see where some of the ink dried up too much in between me talking. So let's color it again. It's still taped down. Let's add some of this color, and I'm going to show you what a wet print looks like. Okay, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to take and hinge from the side. I guess it really doesn't matter if you hinge from the side or if you hinge from the top. So what I'm doing, half of the tape is on the paper, half of it is on the table, and it's set right next to the print. My paper is much larger than my print, so that helps out so that it doesn't miss. I'm going to take some spray water and I'm just going to place that on my piece of paper and then dry it up. We don't want too much, we don't want the paper to get too weak, but we do want the paper to be damp. Not soaking, just damp. This is what makes it a wet print. Now I'm going to take and flip it over onto my marker that I just added on my print. So I place it down and I press down with my hands. You can kind of see that coming through the paper already. And every place that it's wet, it's going to print. This is going to look much different than my dry print. Let's open that up. Let's see what that looks like. Awesome. You can see here's the dry print that I did, and here's the wet print. We're going to go one step further with this one. You can leave it like this. This looks spectacular. Or you can add a second color. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, now I've used a water-based black, and my paper has dried just a little bit. I used the black and covered the entire piece here. And I haven't hit the hinge at all. I haven't moved the hinge. It's in the same exact place. So if I print this again, it's going to go in the same exact area. So I'm going to press this over and rub the back again. So this is a second print using some different colors. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, another whole dimension. We still have some of that color behind, and it pulled off some of the black. So you can get a lot of dimension with this. The great thing about these foam prints is that you can take them off. If you're careful with them, you can take them off. You can wipe them off again. You can use multiple colors. You can print many times, dry and wet. So you can really experiment using the foam pieces. Even though you get one foam piece, it doesn't mean that you can't create a lot of art off from that.